moving on, we now have next talk by talk titled Māna, Meya, Rahasya, Śloka, Vārttikam by Vedavarthi Dr. P. Ramanujan. He is a B in Electrical Engineering from Bangalore University, MSc Engineering from Department of Computer Science and Automation, Indian Institute of Science, and D.Lit from Sri Lal Bahadur Shastri Rashtriya Sanskrit Vidyapit. He has studied traditionally in Gurukula system, Taittiriya, Krishna Yajurveda, Vyakarana, Vishishtadvaita Vedanta, and Nalayira Divya Prabandhams of Alvars in Tamil. He has been part of many scientific advisory committees and also professional bodies, and he has also published in many international and national journals. I now request him to deliver his talk.
Idamahi devagam idenyane namasyama namasyane yajama yajnyane. Good afternoon. I am going to today talk about a topic which is about how is knowledge classified and represented in the machines. I have been worrying for a long time, this knowledge representation, knowledge engineering, all that when the Westerners say, is knowledge translatable to jnanam in Indian systems or not? Somehow I am still not convinced. The concept of the Westerners when they use the word knowledge is exactly equivalent of jnanam that we use in the Indian system. I am comfortable using word jnana because it's a technical term, it is defined properly in the Shastras. This exactly is the same knowledge that people are talking, we do not know. It's even possible that ignorance and jnanam can have some relation also, we do not know. I am only wanting to take a proper technical text in the Shastras to at least see how is the brain's activity or a sentient being's activity being classified. So I am just trying to look into the epistemological details that are available in the Indian text. And one specific text I want to talk about, this is simply because it's quite exhaustive and very comprehensively dealing with every kind of theory related to knowledge that was developed in this country, irrespective of whether they were believers, non-believers, whether they were subscribing to the Shastras the way today we deal with or not. It starts with Charvakas onwards and up to every kind of a theorist. If there was a serious research and he had a theory, that is compiled by a person. So this is actually written by a scholar who was in Mysore. The name that he gave is Māna, Meya, Rahasya, Śloka, Vārttikam. I will just try to see how, I will just try to. Now, there are 5 words in the heading of the book. Māna, Meya, Rahasya, Śloka, Vārttikam. It's basically an anthology of epistemological concepts. He has just tried to collect all available theories about knowledge, about cognition, about interactions among sentient beings into this book. And he is not judgmental, he is not trying to propose one or denounce the other. He has just collected everything. It's a very good compilation. I am just convinced that we need to know everything that existed so that we get the right use of every theory that is available whenever we need. So the first word there is Māna. Māna has 2 meanings. To measure also is one meaning, whereas the book currently that uses is about cognition. And generally it is used in the sense of pramana. Pra as a upasarga is added to this. So this pramana is the first topic that it takes up, because the entire Nyaya Sutras also begin with the word pramana. Pramana, prameya, samshaya, viparya, etc. So this pramana is the first category. How does somebody get knowledge? How does somebody cognize something? It may be about himself, about other things. It could be definitive, it could be doubtful, whichever way it is. So long as there is cognition, this is referred to as Māna. Now he has tried to list every kind of Māna among various texts. He has quoted nearly 1,000 source books in this text. Second word is Meya. That is the object of this knowledge. What is this knowledge about? So, Mānasya Vishayaha, Meya. So, Māna, Meya. Then there is some relation between them. And this is explained differently by different people. So, this Rahasya, he uses the word Rahasya, it is generally hidden. No one tries to tell you what is his axiom that he has used. He just proposes a theory. But one has to now dig into that and know, okay, this person is dealing these two in this sense and someone else in some other sense, etc. To some extent, this is not explicit in most of the texts. Whenever there is a theory about pratyaksha, about anumana, about shabda, about various kinds of pramana, what is the relationship between the person knowing and the knowledge accruing to him is not explicitly stated. But this is brought out. It is possible through the discussion. This person is bringing it out. So, Māna, Meya, Rahasya is the third word. It is in the form of verses. So, the Śloka actually says this is not a prose text, this is in the form of verses. So, Śloka is fine. Vārttikam is the last word that you use. He is of course a Mimamsaka. The author is called Lakshmipuram Srinivasacharya. He was a very great scholar. He was also the teacher of Dr. Radhakrishnan, who became the President of India. He was a very great philosopher in Mysore. Being a Mimamsaka, Mimamsa has a famous text called Śloka Vārttikam. The Mimamsa Sutras are explained in the Vārtika style, then there is Tantra Vārttikam, Śloka Vārttikam, etc. Maybe this is resemblance also is a little clueful. The author is a good Mimamsaka kind. But Vārttikam per se has a basic definition. Ukta, Anukta, Durukta, Chintakaratvam, Vārtikatvam. This is mentioned in the case of Vyakarana also. Every Shastra uses the same thing. So what is said, you examine. And what is left unsaid, that also one has to examine. And what is wrongly said, that also has to be examined. So he is just trying to put together the different theories, then he classifies them, and then gives some kind of comment. Something, does it go with something else, or some of the assumptions, are they consistent, etc. So he has put this whole text into three sections: Pramana, Prameya, Prayojana. He calls the third section as Prayojana. So this book is basically meant to see, of course I'll skip a few things. There is one possibility that if the Western and Indian knowledge systems, irrespective of affiliations, are looked at for their positive aspects, possibly this can be a good mixture. I just try to write what the Sankhyas say. If a blind person and a lame person join together, both can do their jobs well. Pangvandhavadoyo sambandha, that's what I had just written. Of course, science has also not treated the living being in the loop so prominently. If a living being is there in the loop when you are doing studies, then of course this will be better. That was the kind of thinking. And of course, this is a very recent email that I received in one of the groups. I just found it interesting. Madhu Deshpande had written, it's always best to read texts from their own views, the proponents rather than the opponents. So that many times we try to quote somebody just to demolish that. It's not useful to stick to those books. Rather than that, we let us go by each theory the way the proponent said about it. Then let us see what could be. So this is one of the points why this book can be helpful. Another is of course by Professor Nagaraj Paturi. He wrote about three problems about generally today people reading Sanskrit text in English translation. Learning itself is a problem. Translation is a problem. Then of course comparison between the two systems are a problem. I am just trying to draw attention just to say, why do we need a text which is not judgmental, which is encyclopedic, and which does not have his own view in that, but he is only collecting the views of various people. But it is properly compiled. The great contribution of Lakshmipuram Srinivasacharya is organizing this very vast amount of theories in the Indian systems into proper groupings. And that helps a lot in building up a good ontology, let us say. Tomorrow we want to have this knowledge organized properly. And this cuts across various shastras, and so this is helpful. Of course, this has three sections, as I said, Pramana section, then Prameya section, then Prayojana section. There are 125 topics chosen by him. He has organized them into 125 topics. See, karma is one topic, Atma is one topic, Adrishta is one topic, Siddhanta is one topic. This way he has just chosen some topic, and about that, what all theories are available in the Indian systems, this is put together. And there are subtopics, 608 subtopics. It is in the form of shlokas, we said. It has 6,194 shlokas in this. And 890 texts are quoted in this. So many texts, and he has also given, he himself published the book from the Oriental Institute, the Oriental Library of Mysore, and there he has organized the book very nicely. He has given all the quotations, and which line, which shloka quotes this, etc. The cross references are properly given. And this entire thing now we have put it on the website, so this is available now. This whole thing can be seen. We did this as part of Karnataka Knowledge Commission. There was one project where I built this up. And the coverage is, it's a theoretical abstraction of various theories that are there. But all systems of philosophy are the schools of thought. They could be Astika, they could be Nastika, he doesn't care. He is only wanting to see that this much is the Indian contribution available across books which can be shown today. Today we have these books available. In this, these theories are there, this is here. And this is how they are related. Maybe they can be grouped into a proper useful form. Of course, we can use this maybe for a good taxonomy or something where we will be able to see any given system in the Indian scenario corresponds to any theory. Today somebody comes up with something new. My immediate response would be, let me first check out with Māna, Rahasya, Śloka, Vārttikam. If it is found there, you are not the first person to talk about this kind. So, to that extent, this is a very good handbook. And of course, he has two ways of organizing, top down and bottom up. Initially, he lists out various siddhantas and then gives how they have described the universe. Later, based on these topics, on any given topic, maybe there are 10 different people who have talked different things, he puts them all together in one place. And these people differ in this, they agree in this. This kind of comparison he has drawn up. And some cases there is not consistency, that also he points out. This does not go with the other kind of assumption, etc. So, I am just suggesting in this case, it is both system-wise and concept-wise. So, this is helpful. 125 concepts and about 15-18 systems. He has covered every kind of available document. It is not Sarvadarshana Sangraha kind of book. This is not something which tries to give you a summary of all the systems. It gives the detail of all the systems. And without having any judgment about this is good, this is bad, or this is earlier, later, etc. He does not talk about time at all. Whichever came whenever, something could be very ancient, something could be quite recent. He doesn't bother about so long as, suppose light, he takes light as one of the items, Veda as another item, thought as another item, language as another item. About this, whoever has said whatever, so long as this is there in the Indian systems, recognized, commented, etc., with the reference is available. Because what we could do with this is my suggestion. We could have a facility to, of course, hyperlink this with the actual text. See, we also now have those 890 texts that he has quoted. We have also built the knowledge base of all of them. CDAC has this, and of course, we have also got, along with IISc in the last 2-3 years, this is also there in the CSA lab now. We have an application built for this to use this up kind of. So, it is available somewhere. He has said something. Is it true? You click there, you go and see. And what else has been said can also be studied. In which context did this come up? Maybe is it prima facie view, is it the established view, etc. Somebody can see. So, we can build a facility to browse, search, hyperlink, etc. This is one kind of, this is largely done now. But next is to build ontological tools. Let us say, what is a kind of questions. See, I have had occasions where, what is a yajna? Is the question somebody asks you. We talk about yagas in various cases. What is a yajna? Typically, what does it have? Somebody wants to have. Now, for answering such questions, in fact, once upon a time there was a king in a kingdom. What is a king? Suppose we need to have such concepts explained, then this is quite helpful. He has now organized the concept-wise the different system. We will be able to say this has 10 different descriptions from different perspectives. Then the sigma of all of this will be such a concept, and this can be used for this. This is in such a scenario, etc. It's also possible, but I have taken a few examples. We did some work in the PES University now. There is one project that is going on about the ontology itself. There is a center built for knowledge analytics and ontological engineering. Professor Kavi Mahesh is heading that. And there we have this project taken up. Life as a sacrifice is one of the projects. The Shrutis have talked about, the Shastras have talked about how should somebody live his life, maybe in different times kind of. And life as a sacrifice, suppose you know want to take various concepts, the dharma can be used, adharma can be used, various kinds of such concepts can be used up. But you can build a good model which will answer a question like, see, there is a kind of Niti Śloka, for example. Kortha putrena jatena yona vidvan nadharmikaha. This is one subhashita. What is the use of having a son if he is not a vidwan or a dharmika? It is as good as not having a son. What does this mean, Baba? Then life has got certain kinds of goals, and one needs to be helpful to himself, helpful to others. This is what is expected. If a person does not fulfill this, is there, not there, doesn't make a difference. This is the kind of statement, or let us say some moral. Even to understand how does a life, its perspectives and setting up goals, or then trying to pursue something, etc., how can this change? These are attempted through various kinds of model. This is one possibility. Upanishads, of course, have lots of stories, episodes through which lots of morals are taught into us. So it is possible to look at the allegoric part or the figurative part of things in the various epics or the Puranas, etc. It's also helpful in health, education and things like that. Of course, one of the important points is like the Sattvika, Rajasa, Tamasa food itself. Suppose a person is made up of what he eats. Yo yat shraddha sa eva saha is a statement. A person is defined by his food habits, his general behavior, etc. But then what does change if something is changed somewhere? You want to change here, where do you want to have? And different systems, including Charvakas, they have their own theories to say, to be a believer in Charvaka, you need certain kinds of lifestyle. Even this, each one has gone much deeper rather than the today's kind of scenario, like it doesn't matter whether the beliefs are there this way or not, the conduct is this way or not, etc. So long as information is there, information is knowledge, that has not been taken in that sense in many of the systems. So such things can be studied. So this book is helpful. I have just given a few headings like this. In fact, Dr. Vārttikam once was asking me, can you translate the entire text itself into English, number one? If not, at least all the topics. I just started for him at that time, maybe about 10 pages of it I did, and then of course, that I am not comfortable, I am not happy using English. So I said, non-English Indian languages is what I have been working on, so please leave me alone. Anyway, so, but what he has done is like this, Pitika is the first heading, then Shastrarambha. Within that he will have the different kinds of subtopics. How it is organized, I am just trying to see, Siddhanta, Vichara, etc. So, of course, Indian knowledge systems generally have lots of good features, which, one of the cases where this is helpful is, take the situation, Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhuhu, Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha is a statement. Self is one's own friend or one's own enemy also. Now, how does somebody model such a thing, and then how to use this up? This has got a deep significance. This maybe somebody can feel. But then is it scientific? I don't even know whether Western scientists will accept this as a scientific fact at all or not. But if it is, then science is maybe not capable of handling this. One of the two. Either it is not scientific, or if it is scientific, then how do we handle such a situation? Self-help is the best help. This is the equivalent in English, let us say. What does this mean? If you could help yourself, why do you need help first of all? There are that kind of contradictions within this. Then what does this mean? Of course, Vedas have many such scenarios. Indra became Indra, tasmad Indra, Indro bhavat. Baba, you are saying Indra became Indra. What was he before he became Indra? You are referring to him as Indra. The Vyakhyana says the would be Indra conducted in some form and became Indra. That is, somebody named his child Devadattaha. And Mahabhashya actually says Deva enam deyasuho iti nama kurvanti Devadatta iti. Today he is not Devadatta. We want him to become a Devadatta in future. So we name him today as Devadatta. So that way somebody becomes worthy of his name or his lineage or his expectation. So such cases are difficult to handle in today's so-called scientific or the Western scientific or the Christian scientific kind of scenario. But the Indian systems have had their own way of significance that can be studied. In fact, he has tried to give how do words, Sattva means what, Rajas means what, Tamas means what. How did this word come up? What is the root? What is the suffix, etc. He has got some kind of an organization which helps us go deeper into the very basic words themselves. And of course, there is this, Subhashitas have not put the Sanskrit part. Take one drop of water, put it into three different scenarios. Then there are three different results. Santaptayasi samsthitasya payasaha namapi najñāyate. It's, you put it on a hot the plate, it just goes off, it evaporates. That is the end of it. Namapi najñāyate. Most of the, today's associations are like, you associate with people, you also lose your identity. Second part, muktakarataya tadeva nalini patra sthitam rajate. Put the same drop of water on a lotus leaf. It looks like a pearl. It is not a pearl, but it looks like a pearl. Muktakarataya. This is madhyama samsarga. Adhava samsarga, madhyama samsarga. Then the same drop of water falls into an oyster shell. Swatyam sagara shukti madhyapatitam san mauktikam jayate. It has a potential to even become actual pearl. But it can become even, unknown, unseen, unwept. That need not happen. Now such teachings, how does somebody actually inculcate? And what kind of a scenario, what kind of a modeling that one has or ontology that somebody can propose. So this is brought prayena adhama madhyama uttama gunaha samsargato jayate. This is what the teaching saying. I am just saying it's important about the human being in the loop. Scientist as much as science is important. And about the scientist, there is no science today. The Indian sciences have been about the scientist, the seer, the experiencer, etc. Of course, there are also the Bhartahari Śloka well known. When I knew little, I was blind with arrogance as an elephant. This is, of course, his famous Śloka. Yada kinchijñoham gajaiva madandha samabhavam. Then, of course, slowly, at that time I was thinking, oh, nobody can know more than me. I was sarvajna kind of. Slowly I started interacting with learned people. Then I knew how foolish I am. Then my arrogance went away. The more I learned, my arrogance went away like a jwara. It's like a fever, it just disappeared. Jwara iva madhome vyapagataha. Now how do you model this person? A person perceiving himself to be something which is not true. Whereas now this can change also. And after change, what is this new perception? So the humility, how does this come? The gratitude, how does this come? These are things that are needed. Then of course, with such a person, knowledge becomes useful to him and others. Otherwise, it's like Hiranyakashipu doing tapas and getting varas. The whole purpose is to kill the whole universe or trouble everybody. Yes, you have done tapas, no doubt. You have also achieved so much, Ravana kind of people. So why are they wrong examples? It's simply because the purpose is wrong. Maybe the act is fine, whereas the intention has not been right. So to see that this knowledge should cover these kinds of features. So this is also a case. If a person is blind, mirror cannot do anything to him. Lochanabhyam vihinasya darpana kinkarishyati. So the Shastras are like the darpana. But we should have the seeker, the seer should be the person himself. We should have interest. So to see that such situations are actually handled, we need. For example, who am I is a very great problem ever since times. And of course, there are different theories in this case. Of course, this is very nicely brought out. He is also given number of examples in the shlokas saying, if you say no Atma exists somewhere, who is saying this is the question he is asking. No Atma exists is the statement of whom? Yeah, so this is how, we have just taken a few such, some of the examples that we built was like concept map we can try to draw for each of those systems. This is how a few things are developed. And of course, there is also the different systems for which we can build different concepts. We have also built up such. This is of course in a small place. Suppose 73 shlokas he has given on a concept called unseen. Adrishta is the heading he has taken. Is what is not seen existing or not? Is it all there that what is seen and what is not seen is not existing? Or does it exist? Who has said what? There are about 15 different siddhantas about this, and they have listed them all, and they have given questions, reasons why they have said something. Just put them all into one place. Adrishta does not mean fortune or luck at all. None of them have said Adrishta means fortune or luck. It's just that not seen, not being able to be processed properly by our senses. So this is how, of course, we have just tried to. Yeah, if you want to stop, I can stop. Yeah, no, it can't be completed. So it can be only stopped. It cannot be completed. So it doesn't matter when we stop. Okay, stop now, good enough. Apply guillotine, there it ends. No question at all. Yeah. So this is one case. Actually, we took one MTech student from IIT Bombay did a project about just modeling yajna. This was the Anuvaka that was taken. This Taittiriya Upanishad has got the last Anuvaka. Tasyaivam vidusho yajnasya atma yajamanaha, etc. Now, Vidwan is the name of the Upasaka or seeker. The Upasaka himself is the yajna. This is what this Anuvaka says. Evam vidushaha yajnasya. Vidwan eva yajna. Vidushaha yajnasya atma yajamanaha shraddha patni shariram vidvam uraha vedihi, etc. So it now gives what are all the constituents of a yajna and where are they present figuratively in the person himself. And this has 31 such items. So with this we try to model at the end of the project to say, if someone asks you what is a yajna, yajna typically has these things. And this belongs to this category, this is of this category, this is sentient, this is insentient. This kind of all related knowledge can be put together into a kind of proper model. Of course, we just try to put that up like use any owl kind of packages and then try to put this. This is part of this, this is belonging to this, etc. So it is possible to totally get an idea to good details and to be able to compare, contrast, and then try to even represent them in case we need. See, when you get a shloka, you want to analyze, it's not enough if you just know Sanskrit grammar. It can pertain to a very wide variety of domains, and the domain required may have lots of implications to the same word. So, if you have a word like dhatu, for example, dhatu has a different meaning in Ayurveda, it has a different meaning in metallurgy, it has a different meaning in Vyakarana, maybe it's just a samnya there, whereas it also can have different kinds of scenarios wherein, the bodily responses, things like that. In fact, we have also put in case, about Vyakarana also he has dealt in a lot of cases. Suppose there is a concept like letter, alphabet, word, sentence, paragraph, etc. Even among them, there are different theories. He has put them all together in one place saying, different people view differently, but everyone has something to contribute. This is one kind of a diagrammatic way of saying something. Take a word and try to show. This is some of the project that we had done earlier, wherein to any given word, at least 40, 50 Paninian rules are required to show the final form of the word. And each one of them have some contribution about the knowledge that gets built up incrementally. Anyway, so we just tried to write a lot of things. But anyway, my basic intention was just to say that, one case, for example, Satyam Vada is a rule that you speak truth. There is also a case, Panchanratan Yahur Apatagani. In 5 situations, falsehood or lying is not wrong. Now what do you do with this? This is the kind of scenario. This is needed for life. When we just said life as a sacrifice, see, a person is putting a gun to your throat and asking your password of your ATM card. If you say you don't know, you are not committing a sin. Pranapatya, that is the first thing. If you are being held to ransom, don't think about Satyam Vada, think about Anrutam Apatakameva. But then, I'm just saying, how does somebody, but this is classified thoroughly well. This has been quite thoroughly classified. So, the whole idea is, tattvas in general are not cast in stone. And they are not that, because this is said like this, come what may, you sink, but never try to give up the word. It's not that, discreet. It has got a proper system, when, where, whom, etc. So, the context, etc. And even within that, can we take shelter under that? It is not possible. So, this kind of a distinction is needed, and this book is full of many such cases. He is just trying to say, Charvakas argue, taking a dip in Ganga gets you moksha, is one statement. Then Charvaka asks, there are so many fish I am seeing in Ganges, when do they get mukti? Why are they not already mukta? This is his question. You occasionally take a dip, you get moksha. It is there itself all the life. When is it going to get moksha? So, these are kind of questions. Why do you do Shraddha? Somebody has passed away, you feed somebody else. This will, give tripti to the departed person. I am going out of station here. I don't want to stay in a hotel. Let somebody else eat on my behalf. And I will just get my, stomach filled. This is enough. Why Shraddhas, etc. So, there are many such basic questions, very thoroughly taken up. But the important point is, what is the system to answer all this? How was this answered by people? If a Charvaka can ask this question, is it not, occurring to people like, Panini or Patanjali or Gautama kind of people? Or did they ignore? Did they push it under the carpet? No. So he is now trying to see the situation along with the knowledge together is a model. It is not simply the information part alone. So I am just wanting to see that people need to look at the Indian system. I have also taken up some of the Western work and then tried to compare the most recent one in the social sciences. We have asked the Westerners also, is biology a science? Yes. Is commerce a science? Don't know. Is computer science a science? Maybe. Now, these are kind of things. What is science among all of them? What is common to all of them? Okay, is Sanskrit a science? Never. Now, how? No, these are kind of things. So, there are things that are very, very biased and where no one has gone deeper into. Give me 2 reasons. Nobody is able to say something. I know you are wrong. How do you know? I am able to know. I say, that is not enough reason. So, that is where if knowledge has to be challenged, we need to have knowledge. Try different kinds of knowledge. About this, for 1,000 years, people have talked about what have they done, what is their output. And this is one very, very good compilation of all such theories in one place. Of course, if you try to translate, it is quite difficult. It's good to know the language even for studying such great books, good compilations even. And of course, maybe like Ramanujacharya's Shabdavodu Mimamsa, he wrote a very big tome, 4 volumes of big. He has covered every kind of word, every type of sentence, every type of paragraph, etc. And then how to get their meanings, then how to compare them, etc. So these are, that provides an example, this gives you a framework. Like this, somebody can try to go in, no shortcut, and if ocean contains a lot of valuable things, it is not on the surface. On the surface of the ocean, you do not have the treasures at all. It's not even drinkable on the surface. But you have all the, it is called Ratnakara, no doubt, but Ratnas are at some depth. Without going to that, the ocean is not Ratnakara for such people. We have all Shastras which are Ratnakaras, and anyway, this is one sample I was just wanting to draw attention to. And such things will definitely help us even to find fault with someone who is trying to simply criticize something at the surface of it. So with this anyway, I think about 4 or 5 years ago, about epistemology I spoke here as an alumnus of IISc from the alumni center. Now I think the same place, of course with a little more work done, now I am able to address people. Yeah, such activities, if they are taken up, we will maybe slowly understand why our ancestors studied, behaved, taught in certain particular way, and what was there unseen. That is the most important thing. Thank you all.
We said this. All these discussions beg answer for one of my questions. We always consider Shruti as Pramana. I think I also accept that. But one question I have is, when you go to Shruti, it is very difficult to understand Shruti. For example, we go to, they're all paradoxical. For example, let us take Nasadya Sukta. I don't understand what it is saying. So, my question is this. When we go to Upanishads or Vedas as Pramanas, and when they are paradoxical, what do we make out of it? And when we go to it with a question, how do we understand and how do we regard this Pramana and get on to the answering the question?
Yeah, I just mentioned even in this book, he has tried to see Pramana and Prameya are the building blocks. But both of them are for a prayojana. The entire exercise is towards a purpose. Now, if our purpose is just, let us say, I want to understand Nasadya Sukta and be able to know what it says. You want to do something with it is one scenario. You simply want to be aware of what it has is the other way. Now, there are different levels of answers for this. One, yes, there are commentaries, translations, or someone, you go to a person who knows this, he teaches you. It is not unique to Vedas. This is one thing I just want to point out. Suppose I read something about nuclear physics, I don't understand anything. That is Nasadya Sukta for me, who knows Nasadya Sukta, but not nuclear physics. The whole point is, unknown, known are 2 categories. Unknown, how to know it? Again, for what purpose? Just for the pleasure of knowing that you know the meaning is one scenario. See, Vedas do deal with things which are transcending a very large time frame and covering a big universe wherein we are a small speck. It's not easy to make sense to everybody at every time in the same way. So, Vedas have, in fact, the Mimamsakas are the Shastrajnas who dealt with the structure of Veda, how to understand their meaning. They have classified Vedic statements into a number of types. And Vedas do employ a lot of symbolism. The symbolism is necessary just to see. For example, it's not easy to see air or wind, for example. We all experience it. Now, seeing alone is not the proof of existence of something. Now, what cannot be seen? Suppose we need to do something with it. Then a different kind of, the question is reworded, how do I benefit out of this? This is answered. Whereas, the straight answer for knowing Nasadiya Sukta is, you can become a Rishi. To become a Rishi, somebody can do yoga, tapasya, etc. It is possible. It is not that it is earmarked for any individual. Anyone can reach that. Somebody has reached is the proof that there is a Rishi for any given mantra that we have. It is not that the entire set of mantras are exhausted, or at any given time we have all of them known. So, there are two levels. Vedas, of course, are one very special way of putting things together in a single place. So, it remains enigmatic. There is also a very good teaching in Taittiriya Upanishad. Whenever you have a doubt about a principle or about practicing or applying that principle, go to somebody who knows. Ask him or follow the way he does. This, after teaching the entire Veda to the student, the teacher, when sending him out of the Gurukula, then he is saying, if you get doubt about dharma or vritta, dharma refers to the principles, vritta refers to practicing it or applying it. Yadite, if you have a doubt on, let us say, which is Paratattva, it is very difficult. At different places, different things have been said. Ultimately, anything can be Paratattva. Now, what is your job? What do you want to do? It boils down to that. Similarly, how to behave. Okay, there are differences. Today is Ekadasi for somebody, tomorrow is Ekadasi for somebody. Obviously, Ekadasi cannot be there on 2 days. Doesn't matter. Whom do you take as your preceptor? You follow him. There. I mean, how does it matter? No. See, there is nothing absolute. There is something relative. The relative is helpful to you. Absolute will not take you into your daily needs. So, reduce that, the problem, into something that is applicable in your scenario. So, Vedas need, it's called Trayi. There are 3 levels in the Vedas. One is at the Vyavahara level, basic level. Next is about the divinities which represent those actions. Then, of course, the Tattva there. So, since it has 3 levels, it's not easy to transcend all of them or go through every one of them for every person. Based on Prayojana, it is possible to get the help. But like I said earlier, it's not unique to only Vedas. It is true with anything that we do not know. And when we want to know, how much do we want to know? Do we want to know for the sake of knowledge or applying it somewhere? That will decide. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I request the session chair to honor the speaker now.